Hulk Smash! The Incredible Hulk! Released in 2008 and is directed by Louis Leterrier, who's behind such films like the first two Transporter movies, Unleashed, Clash of the Titans, the remake, and The Dark Crystal on Netflix this year. And this movie stars Edward Norton, Liv Tyler, Tim Roth, and William Hurt. Bruce Banner was a cocky scientist who played around with too much gamma radiation. During one experiment, he was exposed to a lot of it, and instead of killing him, it turned him into a big, giant green rage monster. Now he is on the run from government forces led by Thunderbolt Ross, and he travels the world trying to find a cure to kill this giant green monster called the Hulk. So in a year where we have the original Iron Man released and The Dark Knight, you can imagine that a film like The Incredible Hulk just completely gets forgotten. Heck, I even forgot this movie was coming out during that year. I remember seeing trailers for it, and really all that they highlighted was the Hulk fighting Abomination, which if you are a Hulk fan, that's really what you wanted. I want the Hulk taking on another Hulk-type character, unlike the Ang Lee Hulk movie where we have him fighting hulked-out poodles. Now, when this movie was coming out, the MCU was just getting started, and we really had no idea that they were starting this shared universe type concept. So I was initially thinking that this is a sequel to that Ang Lee Hulk back in 2003. Thankfully, though, it is not. As opposed to giving us another origin story where we see Bruce Banner going through his science-y stuff, and then goes through the experiment, and then it gets exposed to the gamma radiation, it's all just an opening montage. We don't spend a good 25-30 minutes with this origin take. Short little montage at the beginning, we get the idea, he turns green whenever he is angry. Awesome. Because in a world where we get remake after remake or reboot after reboot of these very substantial comic book characters, seeing the same origin story over and over and over again can be tiresome. But Hulk with the experiment going wrong, Spider-Man, Uncle Ben dying, we get it. Let's go. So the fact that they did that is telling me that they are trusting our audience here by being knowledgeable about this character. So I really commend them for that. The rest of this movie, though, it leaves a lot to be desired. Do I think it's better than Ang Lee's 2003 Hulk? Yes, in several aspects. Not all, but in several. In terms of the design of the Hulk, I like this rendition better. Now, of course, we get better renderings of the Hulk as we go to the Avengers movies. But if you go back to 2008 and you're just comparing 2008 to 2003, yeah, I'm picking 2008's rendering of the Hulk way over 2003's. Compared between the two plots also, I'll take The Incredible Hulk in 2008 as opposed to 2003. In 2003, they tried shoving so many metaphors and psychological shit in there, all leading between cool transitions where it looked like it was a comic book on screen. Really, this seemed like a long episode of the Lou Ferrigno Hulk TV series, where we have our lead, Bruce Banner, played by Edward Norton, and he's just traveling from town to town, from country to country, just trying to fit in and trying to find a cure for this disease that he thinks he has. Say what you want about this movie or about the Hulk in general, but I think he is a great metaphor for people that feel like they have depression or some type of anxiety disorder, or people that just think that there's something wrong deep inside with them, either physically or mentally. Hulk is a great allegory for that. So you can have that take where you have this disorder, you have this disease, and you're trying to fight it, you're trying to beat it, you're trying to fight against it. Or eventually, like this version of the Hulk learns later on in the Avengers movies, to adapt to that disorder, to adapt to that monster that's living inside of you, to accept it and to embrace it because it's part of yourself. I think that is just beautiful. If only Edward Norton would have cared about that much too. For the longest time, I was thinking that, oh, he probably regrets giving up that role and giving it to Mark Ruffalo, but I think he did like a stand-up or an interview a couple of years ago where he was like, yeah, fuck no, I'm still happy I left. I think he said something like, yeah, there's this thing called a script and I wish this one was a good one. Oh, zing! That is documented with this movie. There are a ton of deleted scenes. There are reports of just hours upon hours of extra footage that was shot for this movie because Edward Norton wanted to dive into the character and do a lot more character study and present the depths of Bruce Banner and the Hulk to the screen. Whereas I think the studio is more like, you know, we tried doing that last time. Let's just focus on, you know, this is the Hulk and he punches things. Let's do that this time, okay? Like, I think this movie is just under 2 hours, right around the 2-hour mark. And if you download the soundtrack of this movie, there are like 50 tracks on that thing. Way more than 2 hours. And Edward Norton, he is a fantastic actor. He's a brilliant actor. I loved him in Rounders. American History X, he's fantastic. But he's a great example of, if you're going to make it in this field of entertainment, of acting, Don't be an asshole, because you can be the most talented singer, actor, performer, director, producer. You can be that, but if you're a dick, no one's going to want to work with you. And that's the case with Edward Norton. He should be a huge megastar. He should have several awards under his belt. But he doesn't, because no one loves working with him. If you learn anything from this review, don't be an asshole. Tim Roth shows up in here and he plays a secret agent who wishes he was back in his prime so he can take on the Hulk man-to-man. Again, one of those Marvel villains that really is just, we need a villain. Yay. It's not the worst villain that we have in the MCU, but it's not good. And then Marvel Studios decided to cast Liv Tyler as Betty Ross. Why does she keep working? I think the only movie that I ever thought that she was believable in was Empire Records. And that's coming from a huge Lord of the Rings fan. Didn't like her in that either. Here, Armageddon, how does she keep working? Because she always plays that intelligent but yet clueless character in each one of these movies. She's a world-renowned scientist here, but yet she's always asking questions like, what does that mean? What do you say? You know that's gonna kill you, right? I went out and I purchased a bunch of stuff with my credit card. And you're running from the US government and you're purchasing shit with your debit card. I think every single character that she plays, they try to build up the character like they're so intelligent and that they're freestanding, they can stand alone, they're their own person. But yet all of her characters are dependent on some type of male figure. Yeah, we probably shouldn't take the subway. Let's take a cab. Oh, so we don't know that this cure is gonna work? I'm so happy that Bruce Banner moved on from wanting to be with Betty Ross and went to Black Widow and then to Valkyrie a little bit. Just, yeah, stay away from her. I don't want her back in the MCU. Because to be honest, we're probably never going to see her again. Because this movie, even though it was produced by Marvel Studios, was distributed by Universal Studios. So they have certain rights where if there was ever going to be a solo Hulk movie, a sequel to this one, that they would get a little bit of the rights. It's similar to how Sony and Marvel Studios now are fighting over Spider-Man, which I just heard that as of this recording, Spider-Man is back in the MCU, so yay, there we go. Knew it was going to happen. Just give them time to work out a deal. Chill out. But that's why we've never seen a sequel to Hulk. That's why Iron Man, Thor, Captain America have had like their own little tiny trilogy. Hulk is not going to have that because Marvel Studios, now owned by Disney, is not going to want to share the profits with Universal Studios. So if the Hulk is going to show up, he's going to show up in someone else's movie like The Avengers or Thor Ragnarok. That way all of the monies can stay with Marvel Studios and Disney. Haha, that's right. I got all the Hulk money here. So guys, in the end, The Incredible Hulk, I think, is a much simpler story than the original Hulk movie, where we finally get a Hulk versus Hulk type battle, not a Hulk fighting a cloud. That literally happened. However, even though we got it, that fight didn't last too long, so I feel like this movie was just kind of thrown out there. Hey, let's just put it out. Iron Man came out this year, that did gangbusters. Dark Knight is out too. Let's just kind of put it out there. We've introduced our character. Now let's move on to the Avengers. Our performances that we have is meh. It actually feels like all of them are here collecting a paycheck. Liv Tyler, I'm sure, is actually trying. And I will say that before I end this review, that the score created by Craig Armstrong is actually very impressive. It incorporates a lot of darkness into the film. I think it has little tiny bits of the Lou Ferrigno Hulk theme where he was walking away at the end of every single episode. Na, 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 na. Out of all the soundtracks of the MCU to go listen to, I think this one is near the top. So I'm going to give The Incredible Hulk 2 out of 5 Blu-rays. I've had better. Alright everyone, now comes my favorite part of my videos where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. And the next one is a recommendation from one of my subscribers on here, Floating Bean. Or at least it looks like it's FL0TING Bean? Or is that a 10? I don't know. Floating Bean is what your name is going to be for me. You recommended Under the Skin, starring Scarlett Johansson, and I remember seeing this once and thinking, the fuck did I just watch? But I have watched some other reviews and done some research on this movie, and after I've done that, this film has actually become one of my favorites. It's actually very brilliant. Even though the majority of the time, if you're watching it for the first time, you're going, what the fuck is happening? So I'm definitely excited to check that out. Thank you very much, Floating Bean, for the recommendation. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review on here, please leave a recommendation below this video, go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter. Leave your recommendation there, and if I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. channel. So guys, have you seen The Incredible Hulk? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, please comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And if you like what you saw here, if you like my take on movies, then hit that subscribe button. Helps me out a lot to grow this channel. And if you have friends, if you have family members that love hearing people talk about movies, rave about movies, bash on movies, and send them over my way. Tell them to hit the subscribe button. And remember, if we hit 1,000 subscribers, I am willing, lovingly willing, to record myself watching a movie that I've never wanted to watch again since I was a child because it scared me half to death, Arachnophobia. So everyone, I will see you next time with my review of Under the Skin. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.